Why is it so hard to identify your own needs, particularly in a relationship, let alone speak them out loud? You might know how to meet their needs, sense when they're upset, and even shrink yourself to keep the peace. But when it comes to your own needs, it's like there's a blank space. You freeze, you don't even know what they are. You feel like you might need to just pick from a list in order to identify them. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly why you struggle to identify and communicate your needs in relationship, and the deeper subconscious patterns that have taught you it's safer to disconnect from your own desires in order to stay connected to someone else. I'll show you how to reset the nervous system responses that shut your voice down and teach you how to reconnect with your body so that you can actually attune to your needs whilst being in connection with someone else. This is going to allow you to honor your needs in a way that feels safe and empowering instead of uncomfortable and potentially threatening to the connection. Just like my client Katie, who spent most of her life ignoring her own needs to keep the peace in her relationship, but it left her feeling completely disconnected from herself. She realized that not only did she struggle to express her needs, she didn't even know what they were. And inside my program, she learned how to tune into her body and listen to the subtle signals of her preferences that she'd previously spent years overriding. Now she says she can feel the difference between a true yes and a protective, people-pleasing yes. And for the first time, she's living in alignment with what she actually wants, not what others expect of her. It's completely changed the way she shows up in her relationships and in life because she knows her needs and can meet them herself or find creative ways to get them met by the people around her. Now, ever since I was a child, being in the presence of another person brought me into hyper arousal, where I was super attuned to that person, to their needs, what was going on for them. It was like I didn't even exist. I was actually in a chronic state of fight flight that developed into adulthood as my normal arousal state, but I didn't know it. But I was just aware that I always had an intense focus on other people, getting approval and validation from others and overthinking their perception of me. I'd replay conversations with others and overthink things or just assume the worst. And I always felt responsible for others' emotions. I felt bad if something I did hurt them, even the slightest. And I struggled with boundaries and avoided conflict. And when I was alone, I felt super empty. Like there was this massive void inside of me that I couldn't fill no matter how hard I tried with binge eating or watching TV. And I didn't know who I was really. These are all symptoms of attachment trauma that led me to be emotionally unavailable for most of my adulthood in all my relationships, not just my romantic ones. And it really set me up to attract and be in toxic relationships where the focus was all on the other person and I'd never have to deal with my own emotional unavailability. Now, if you find it hard to be vulnerable in relationships and show your needs because you don't know what your needs are and you feel like you're blocked and don't really know who you are to be able to show it in relationship, you have a level of emotional unavailability with yourself that is wired deep into your nervous system. You might think that you don't have any needs, but you do. You're just not aware of them because it wasn't safe for you to have needs as a child. Your needs were an inconvenience. Children should be seen and not heard, right? And so much drama or trauma was going on in the family unit with your parents that you learnt to chameleon yourself and shut off entirely from yourself. Now, shutting off from yourself has become such a learned pattern that it's your normal state now. You don't notice you do it. It just feels like you're numb to yourself. But really, your body is in a low-level chronic state of stress that's been the case for so long that your nervous system has grown up around it. It may even be a feature of your personality, right? You're always on the go, staying busy, but really you're running from yourself. And when it comes to being in relationships, whether romantically or platonically, they are stressful for you. The very presence of another person pulls you away from awareness of yourself, and you can feel exhausted in other people's company. And perhaps you just excuse this because you think you're an introvert, but when you're alone, you dissociate. You go into a fantasy world in your head, perhaps where you dream of being a different person or having a different life, and you're not truly happy in your own company because you don't truly know yourself. And it feels like there's a big pit inside of you that you just can't fill up. This is because even though relationships put stress on your nervous system, you actually rely on external connection to fill yourself because there's no internal connection there and you don't really know who you are. Now, not knowing your needs starts in the nervous system, right? This state of not knowing your needs starts in the body and in the nervous system. And if you're stuck on, your body is constantly wired for fight and flight. In that state, your body reroutes itself and its energy to preparing your organs to respond to perceived threat, which is an externally focused state. And in this kind of state, you're always seeking validation and approval from others, people pleasing and overthinking others' perception of you, replaying conversations or assuming the worst. And you feel responsible for others' emotions. You struggle with boundaries and avoid conflict. And in order to know your needs, you need to be in a parasympathetic state, which is where you feel safe in your body and environment, and you have the internal awareness and capacity to pay attention to more subtle signals from your physical and emotional body so you can know your needs. This is where your sense of self-worth and decisions and self-esteem come from, and validation on your own. That sense of what do I think here brings a strong response internally that you then respond to the world around you through. So instead of always focusing on the world around you, where you're just looking for validation externally because you're dysregulated and you're in this state of fight, flight, and you have no resources left to focus on your internal feelings, and you experience this hyperfixation on others' needs, you have a safe, secure base within you where you're focusing on your self-knowledge that you build up over time to get to know yourself, your opinions and emotions and tendencies and quirks and personality. And this bolsters your self-esteem and your self-identity so that you know where you end and other people begin. And it's from that place of solid self-knowledge that you then interact with the outside world. This buffer is what your identity is, what makes you you. And when you interact with others, that knowledge and experience comes in and it gets mixed with the perception of things. So your emotions, your opinions, and what you feel about the world come from yourself, which then becomes your reality. Instead of, say, a toxic dynamic where someone is gaslighting you and gaslighting your experience and you don't have this self-knowledge, they have direct access to you, right? They're coming in and actually trying to play with your reality. But with self-knowledge, you trust what's going on here. So that can't happen. You trust that over the knowledge of what another person may say. And as an empath, which is a superpower, we can see beyond a person's behaviors and see the deeper meaning as to why they're doing it. You don't let that compassion or that empathy override your internal experience, because you're taking responsibility for yourself and what is right for you as a priority. And you see others as adults who have the responsibility to take care of themselves. So there's this personal space around who you are, and it's in this space that you know what your needs are and how to meet them primarily or get them creatively met by people around you. So how do we get to this state? Self-knowledge doesn't start with knowing your needs. That's a cognitive process that happens in response to what arises in the body. At the moment, you can't know your needs because your body isn't in a relaxed enough state to express them, right? Needs start in the body, and we need to learn to attune to the body more deeply. Now, I remember even basic functions like knowing when I needed to use the bathroom, I'd be so cut off from them, right? These little subtle signals. It was like I was living from the neck up completely. All I'd become aware of was this really intense urge eventually to rush to the toilet. It's a really poor analogy, but at the moment, all of these subtle signals about what the body is needing at the moment aren't being heard by you until your body reaches a breaking point, and all of a sudden you get triggered and you feel a strong urge to either flee a situation or you fight and explode in response to the situation. So in order to create a safe space for self-attunement so that you can hear these more subtle signals, you need to create safety in the body. And you might think, well, I'm watching this video, I feel safe right now, but really emotionally, are you settled, or are you doing a lot of overthinking, not sleeping well, maybe you're easily triggered and run down? These are some significant safety issues that are happening. So to truly feel safe in your body, you need to feel grounded, centered, calm, at peace, free of trauma and triggers that keep you on the edge. So let's learn how to create safety in the body by starting with a very basic activity. Just draw a circle on a page, and inside the circle, you're going to write all the people and activities and places and memories that really serve you and bring you the most feelings of relaxation, safety, connection, love, and peace. And on the outside, you're going to write all the things that are currently in your life that don't make you feel safe, right? They do the opposite. They trigger you, they stress you, they bring your anxiety. This could be relationships or work or certain people, certain situations or tasks that maybe bring up old memories. I want you to write out all of them and look at the circle and then commit to increasing time you spent inside of your circle. Okay, this is your safety circle, and I want you to look at ways you can then decrease time you spend exposed to these things that bring you outside of your safety circle. Now, it's not always possible to do this all at once. We have to go to work. We sometimes have to deal with relationships that make us feel unsafe. So the more time you can spend inside of your safety circle, the more resilience you're going to have in your nervous system to deal with what's on the outside of your circle. In addition, I want you to learn self-soothing skills. These are simple practices like holding yourself, giving yourself a hug, breathing deeply, any pranayama, not breath work that can trigger deeper things, but just breath work practices in yoga and somatic movements that work to regulate your nervous system. So take the skill of a self-hug, for instance. Don't just do it for a few moments and then stop it. Really take a moment while you're hugging yourself just to check in with your breath, check in with the nervous system, and breathe a few times. Really co-regulate with yourself when you do this. Chip away at these kinds of safety practices, and this involves really getting to know your nervous system. It takes time for the body to trust its environment again after years and years of chronic dysregulation. Now, the best and arguably quickest way to feel safe in your body is to borrow from someone else's nervous system and co-regulate with them, who's grounded in their nervous system. So hire a great therapist or a coach, or lean into friendships where you feel truly comfortable with that person. And if you can be in contact with them physically, ask them to help you co-regulate by holding a long hug together and breathing 5-10 times. You would be blown away by how powerful that is. Your nervous system will quickly learn the more you can have this kind of positive contact. But you don't need physical contact. The work I teach remotely in my program is enough for my clients to co-regulate with me via Zoom and learn how to self-regulate, for example. Once you've created enough safety in your body for you to start connecting to it and listening to it, we need to start to attune to our body's signals. In short, a body's yes is going to feel expansive. It's going to feel grounding and safe in the body. And a no is going to feel the opposite, contracting, untethering, or unnerving. There will be this feeling of dis-ease, or it will just feel muddy inside of you. And if this is a new skill for you, pretty much everything is going to feel muddy at the start, right? So you need to start off with leaning into your body's yes, and not with complicated relationship needs, but with really super basic needs. Like, let's take the preference of a certain color book. If you were to go to the stationery store today and buy a new journal, and you had a choice between a yellow and a blue book, which would you choose, and why would you choose it? In that moment of choice, there is some signal in your body being drawn to one over the other, and it's going to expand. It's going to feel a little bit better somehow. This might seem insignificant, but getting to know that signal in your body is the start of a self-trust and self-feedback process that you need to become more attuned to, so that with more complex needs, you can understand them and how they exist within you. So let's try it. Let's take this slide of a yellow and a blue book. Which one are you drawn to right now in this moment? And how do you know that you're drawn to it? Specifically, what in your body is telling you you're drawn to one over the other? So what is the feeling sense in your body? And you might not be able to label it. Don't worry about labels. This can be nonverbal for now. Just trust in whatever signal is coming from your body that's telling you you prefer one over the other. You might have a bunch of stories in your mind about how you like yellow or blue is your favorite color, but I just want you to disconnect from those stories in the mind and drop into the body's experience and notice which one the body prefers. Take the book that is your favorite color now and really look at it. Notice how your body responds when you enjoy looking at that book. Perhaps it reminds you of your favorite flower or ocean, or it's a memory that makes you happy. All of those preferences come from our lived experiences in our lives, and they get lodged in our body as preferences and needs. So feeling into the body is the first step in connecting to your needs, and becoming aware of either expansion in the body or contraction in the body with little day-to-day decisions will build this muscle within you. So how do we then use the skill to know our needs? A need is something we don't have yet that we do need in order to feel safe, to function, and to feel okay. So we all need to sleep and eat, drink water, to breathe, and have shelter over our heads in order to survive. But we don't consciously think about those needs. We just go ahead and get them met. But whenever we feel unsafe, when we can't function, we don't feel okay, some need of ours is going unmet. And unfortunately, we're great at overriding our needs for the comfort or convenience of others, to the extent that we forget we have those needs and we learn to function with a high level of stress or discomfort in our day-to-day life. That's why you need to have a solid level of safety established in your life and your body as a baseline. So if you're currently living in an unsafe environment or trying to make an unsafe relationship work, it's going to be really challenging to really know your needs because of the level of stress and dissociation you're no doubt experiencing in order to make things work. So if this is you, I highly recommend doing what you can to take time away from that unsafe, stressful environment. A few days in a cabin or an afternoon at the park, anywhere where you can exist in your own comfort zone and not have external pressures to worry about on your nervous system. Then when you're on your own, look at what's missing in your life. Let's focus on safety and connection needs in relationship that we often override in our life. So let's start with safety and security. Where are you not feeling safe or secure in your relationships? And why is that? What is it about those relationships that's making you feel unsafe? What would make you feel more safe and secure? What do you need? So for example, for me in conflict, I need physical connection with my partner. My body needs to feel touch from them in order to regulate while we work something out. I've identified that need from experiencing conflict time and again where I felt super disconnected from my partner. And I know now that the smallest amount of touch can bring so much relief to my body and nervous system. This is the part where once we can feel into the body and know what brings safety, we can then advocate and voice our needs to another to get them met. So for example, you might need a certain amount of frequency of communication or certainty of intention from someone and consistency of their behaviors and actions that currently isn't getting met. How much would be enough for you in terms of frequency? Is it daily? Is it twice a day? Get really specific here and use your past negative experiences to inform what would be enough for you, and feel into your body. Imagine receiving a certain amount of consistency in communication. Does that feel good? Does it feel good enough? Or do we need even more? Let's look now at love and connection. Where are you not feeling loved or connected in your relationships? And in general, do you feel enough love and enough connection from the people around you? If you're single, do your friendships make you feel this way or do they not? And what kind of connection would be enough to make you feel loved in a friendship context? And in relationship, what is the gap? Where can your partner meet more of your love languages? As we know, if you prioritize connection over authenticity, you're in danger of ignoring your needs and not advocating for them in relationship, which is why you need a baseline of safety within yourself so you don't scramble to feel safe with others. You need enough space and enough time on your own feeling okay and safe to then bring in the potential for rejection when you ask your needs to be met in relationship. Because remember, not everyone can meet our needs, nor should they meet our needs all the time. And it can be really telling and good data about how a person is and how much they care about you in the way they respond to a request from you to have your needs met. Being okay with someone saying no to your needs is important, because if they say no enough of the time, we have to walk away, right? We need people that can meet our needs most of the time, and recognize that they're just not a compatible partner or friend for us. You deserve enough consistency, which looks like them making an effort more than 50% of the time, say, for them to meet your needs, for there to be compatibility there. And honestly, it is far better to be with someone and people, friends and romantic relationships who naturally meet your needs by them just being themselves, right? Their love language is just your love language, rather than trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole. Now, as you begin to practice attuning to your body in the smallest, most insignificant decisions in your daily life, the yellow and the blue book, you're going to start to notice more movements within your body really wanting and desiring a need to be met. And those signs are telling you that there's a gap, right? You have a need that isn't being met. And remember, a need arises as a result of something not being in place yet. So that we do need in order to feel safe, to feel connected and feel belonging. So you either need to fill that gap or you need to ask someone to. So in the context of relationship, notice what your body needs to feel safe. What does it need to feel connected? Experiment with different types of communication, different types of touch and movement. If you're in a relationship, it's really fun to do this in the bedroom. Ask your partner to stay fully present with your needs so you can slow down and take time to notice what really lights your body up. And if you're single, notice what needs you have that aren't getting met because you're single. Relationally, there would be many, right? Connection, touch, sexual needs, companionship needs. And again, if you're noticing this through desire, what are you truly desiring that you don't have? What does it look like specifically? And how can you lean into deepening friendships or experiences around you to get some of those needs met creatively until you find a partner? Knowing and advocating for your needs is a constant feedback loop that can be informed by present awareness in the body and past experiences, particularly of what was negative or what was lacking. So think back to times you did have your love and connection needs and safety needs met, and what was it about those experiences that really met your needs? Then experiment with advocating for your needs whilst feeling safe in your body. When you ask for your needs to be met, you are challenging the connection with another person and you are risking being let down by them. But knowing you can ultimately meet your own needs and you feel safe in your body just as you are at the end of the day is crucial to doing this, so you don't override yourself and self-abandon for the connection. Now, this is the work that I do with my clients inside my program, Heal Your Heart School, and I would love to chat more with you about it to see if we're fit to work together. So if you need help with knowing your needs and really connecting into your body, please do reach out, book a free consultation call with me in the link below, and we'll have a speak to see if we're fit to work together. In the meantime, here are some next step videos to help you move one step closer to having a beautifully healthy relationship with yourself and with others. And for now, I will see you in the next video.